Hello, this is Mahmoud and welcome to episode 3 of the Sound and Close tutorial series. In this tutorial we'll talk about Redshift AOV light and we will learn how to render and export lights as a separate layer and then import them in After Effects. Next I will show you the project with the imported AOV lights. And finally we will use MoGraph and the MeshTools Edge spline to create dynamic UI design. Now it's time to play. Now we are ready for the final rendering. Before we start rendering, we need this velvet color here as a separate layer and we can import it in After Effects, and maybe we want to change the color or make the color stronger. Having this as a separate layer in compositing will help us. Here if we render, that you see that we have only the beauty. This is all what we will get in the final rendering, and now we need to add a separate layer. Here our velvet color is just a simple area light with intensity 1, exposure 4, and mode is on color. Color here I have selected the velvet color, area shape is disk, size is 1000 and 1000. Now we need to make a separate layer. All we need to do is if we select our light here and in details, here we have AOV light group. If we select here, we have no light assigned to it. We just need to add a new light group here. Just select this. Let's call it blue color and just click OK. And now we have AOV light group created easily as it is. But still if we render, nothing will be shown here. We need to do one more step. In render setting, here we will select AOV, and in show AOV manager, we just click here. And here from the list, we will select the beauty, just drag it here. And we activate here direct because we wanted the final render and also our AOV layer will be rendered in the same folder. And here we have the light groups. Here all light groups, or we can see them if we have more than one separately. If you select here all, it will render all of lights. Or if you want only one by one select, if you have more than one color layer, just select one by one here. Now we have only the blue color, just one layer, we will select it. This is all you need to do. Now just close it and we back to our render view. And if we render here again, here you see we have beauty and the new layer color is created, which is our blue color. Just select it. And here you can see we have one layer beauty and the second layer or blue color. Now we can import this file as a separate layer in After Effects and have control by make the color stronger or changing the colors in After Effects or other compositing softwares. Here also we have our splines with incandescent material here. And if we want also render them as a separate layer, we can here select our spline here and right click and add our RS render tag here, RS object. And when we add RS object here, curviness here, cylinder thickness 40, and for different splines I have give different thicknesses from 4 to 40. Now we need to add an object ID for the splines. If we select our RS object here, object ID, just click and override activated. For all of this, we should activate the override. And after activating all of this, just you can give the number object ID number 1. And all of this we will give same number because we want all of them in just one layer be rendered. And now after we give the object ID number, we will back to render setting and here show AOV manager we activate. Now here we will select our puzzle mate, just drag it here. And we will also activate the direct here. We will select puzzle mate. And here the mode, instead of material ID, we will select object ID. And here red, green and blue, all of them we will give just one. And this is all what we need to do. Just close it and we'll back to our render view. And now we only need to render again here. And after rendering, we have here the beauty, blue color and our puzzle mate. And they will be also as a separate layer rendered. And you can also import in After Effects and use for your compositing. In this After Effects project that I have created for tutorial intro, you can see that I have imported and rendered in Snow for the AOV lights as a separate layer, and also the beauty as another separate layer. And the advantage here is when we put the AOV light at the top of our beauty, we have more control. For example, you can play with the mode in After Effects and make your color here stronger, or just add, for example, here hue saturation, and here I add and make, for example, here 40. And let's turn it off, and you see that it's much weaker or color tone. And if you add here, now is stronger. You do not need to render all of project again in Snow 4D. Just here in After Effects you have control to make your light stronger or weaker. Let's say client need another color. We do not need render all of the project again in Snow 4D. And here in Composite we can just change the color or AOV light layer color. Here I have added color balance, and here in hue again we can change this, and we will see how easily the color will change. Let's make this, for example, 60, and easily we have changed the color without rendering everything from very beginning in Snow 4D. 180. And finally you can see that with the color balance and the changing the hue and also the saturation, you can easily art direct and save a lot of time from your rendering, and also create the final results with different color variations. Now it's time to create our UI with the help of MeshTools Edge Spline and also MoGraph. Here we have the MoGraph number 1 is just created by a simple cloner here, and also just a simple cube here. The MoGraph here object on mode is on radial selected, and also the count is 12 and the radius 160. Plane I have selected ZY to be on direction of the camera. If you select another one, it will be the different direction. The second MoGraph is also the copy of the first one. Instead of the cube, I have just selected a sphere here. Is again the mode is on radial, and also the count instead of 12 is 60 and the radius is 160. And MoGraph 3, which here we have the 12 number, you can add more numbers, but I have just selected 12 number here, and I want it here from 1 to 12. For this MoGraph, the object is here only a text, and we have to copy of them and 12 number. And if you select here a text explain 1 is 1, 2 is 2, until the 12 is 12. The only difference is between the MoGraph 3 and MoGraph 1 and 2 is if you select MoGraph 3, everything is same, but here just the clone is selected blend, because we wanted from 1 to 12 here the numbers are blended and be created one by one. Another change is that the default offset is 0, and if the default is 0 here, the first number will be here 1, then 2, and I wanted one stop from here. This is the reason I just 30 degree I add to it, and now the 12 is here and one star from here. And the last MoGraph is tube, because I have used the tube object here. The outer radius is 130, the inner is 126, and also slice is activated from 45 to 130. Also I have another tube which is simply created from here, and the outer radius 140, inner 135. Also here a slice is activated and from 0 to 180, and created a new object simply by using tube. Now we need to create our MeshTools edge spline. Here MeshTools, and we will select our edge spline from here. And when we have our edge spline here, just create a simple disk with the inner radius 115, outer 121, and rotational segment 100. Just drag the disk as a child of edge spline. And if we select our edge spline here, the mode we will select standard, and nothing else will change from here. And all we need, just hold Alt and hide the disk object, and now we have the disk as a spline here. The second MeshTools edge spline is just a copy of the first one, and the disk here has a different radius, inner radius 86, outer radius 176, and also the mode is not a standard but is outline, because we won't have only the outline of the disk. Now only hide the disk, and now we have created our UI. If you want to add a little bit more details and animate your edge spline, just select your edge spline here, and in shader just select here and add a noise. And if you click here, we are in our noise parameters. Here you can select different type of noises, and here easily animation speed, just put a number here. For example 2, and now play again. You can see easily we have added some details and animation here.